Howdy, gang. And first of all, hopefully you can see my new Hellfire Club light that Steve got me. For those of you that watch Stranger Things, you will know that that is the club that the kids belong to in Stranger Things, the boys primarily, that is ran by Eddie Munson, who has become a very popular character on Stranger Things. So um, enjoy that, lighten up in the back if you don't want to look at my ugly mug while I'm on here talking about these movies tonight. But I want to welcome everybody to Evil Dead Chicks 4th of July Bonanza. We're going to be talking about some horror fireworks tonight. So I have 5 movies I'm going to talk about. Probably going to go through them pretty quickly. Hey, Blissful. Probably going to go through them pretty quickly tonight because I know that people are probably chomping at the bit to be watching fireworks tonight. And I definitely don't want to take away from that. So if you want to watch me talk about these movies right now, fantastic. If you'd rather watch it on the replay, that's fantastic as well. I am just brimming over with excitement, though. First off, guys and gals, I'm going to get a little housekeeping stuff out of the way. Um, I have some exciting things in the works. So, for those of you that were on the stream last night, Apples and Oranges, talking about Kane Hodder not being asked to return as Jason Voorhees on Freddy versus Jason. If you didn't watch it on the replay, you might have missed out on me talking about some of the new exciting things that are going to be going on. Yes, Blissful, thank you very much. Blissful says, either way, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. And thank you, Blissful, for always saying that. Blissful is one of my #1 supporters of this channel. So let's get to these new and exciting things that are coming up. First of all, I have a Discord started. The link for the Discord should be in the description for this video. I'm trying to make sure that I put these links in every video. I'm still working on the Patreon for Deadites on Deck. Haven't got that all completed yet, but as soon as I do, there will be a link in case you want to join the Patreon. It's not required. I'm not going to, beg anybody to. I'm just letting you know that those things are there. The Discord is free to join. Just click on the link, create your account, and you're ready to start chatting. In fact, I don't know if Victor is in here watching tonight, but Victor has already joined the Discord. And for those of you that may say, well, Dana, I don't want to look back into the well, I was going to see if I could get you guys a proper link. I don't know if I can or not. Well, I probably can get it from something or another, but I was looking for like a general invite that I could send. And I'm not exactly seeing that right now. So, but I will try to come up with that so that I can, send the proper thing to you. I don't think this link, this URL that's in here is the correct one. But hey, Victor, speak of the devil, he's here. Not that I think you're the devil, Victor. But Victor did join the Discord, and I was just thrilled as could be that I have my first member on Discord for Deadites on Deck. Hopefully we'll have many more in the future. I know some of you aren't big on Discord, and hopefully I can change that. Hopefully having this Discord will be a place where people can come and feel like that they can express particular interests. There's a lot of different, Victor can probably tell you because I'm sure he's taken a look around already. There are several different discussions there on the side of the page that you can click on. You can start your own thread in those. You can kick it off if you want to go and start talking about a book. Hopefully, other people will jump on there and say, "Hey, yeah, I like that book too. Let's have a discussion about it." But the big thing about this Discord, and I'm not saying there aren't other Discords out there that are the same, but I want this to be a hate and bully free area. That means if anybody does join that starts any kind or tries to start any kind of drama, um, they won't be allowed to stay. And that's all I'm going to say about it. And I'll move on from there. You may hear some fireworks in the background, but hey, it is 4th of July. So what are we going to do, right? Um, so the Patreon part is in the works. I haven't got everything set up. Hey, Pat. And also, some more exciting news, things just on the horizon. Soon there's going to be a sister channel to Deadites on Deck, and that sister channel is going to be called Waiting on Woodstock. And I bet Blissful in particular will be interested in this. This is something that me and Candace are going to be joining together to create content for. And we're really, really excited. I haven't gotten that channel up yet, but I am going to be eagerly working on that very soon. I have 3 more days before I have to go back to work. I knew Blissful would love this because I know there are some people that are horror fans, some people that are fans of that Woodstock Nation, the movies, the music, the books, the television shows, the fashion, the hair, everything um, during that time period. And we're even going to slide right on into the 70s as well, because a lot of that stuff went on into the 70s a little bit, especially some of the musical groups. We're also going to be talking about the darker side of things. Oh, that's awesome, Bliss. Well, I hope you're going to take a whole bunch of pictures because I would love, love, love to see those. But we're going to be talking about the darker side of some of the musical groups. There's dark things about, the Mamas and the Papas. There are dark things about the Doors. Dark things about a British group called Badfinger. We're going to talk about Charles Manson at some point. So even if you're not interested in all the light, whimsical things about the Woodstock era, you can be sure to tune in for stuff when we talk about the darker stuff, maybe the true crime part of that, because we're going to cover it all, you know. So, the other thing that is in the works is that I'm still going to maintain Deadites on Deck. Don't worry about that. There will continue to be content galore on Deadites on Deck, and as much as I can put on waiting on Woodstock. Um, the other thing is, though, on the Deadites on Deck channel, whereas I had been alternating on Thursday nights between Seductive Poison, The Resurgence, doing a triple threat review show, and doing I Know What You Shot on Video, where I talked about shot on video films. So what we're going to do is alternate between I Know What You Shot on Video, and Candace and I are going to do a new variety type show. I haven't come up with a name for it yet, but I will very soon. And we'll still do Friday Foolish, but this is going to be a different show. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of things on that new show. So, a ton of stuff on the horizon. I'm really excited about. Candace is really excited about. I hope you guys are excited about it. And I will also, as I said before, continue to provide hopefully quality content for Deadites on Deck as well. All right. So let's get to these 5 movies that I picked out, shall we? While we've got 11 people in here. That's really good. So I thank everybody for being in here. Those of you that are chatting, those of you that are just watching, I appreciate all of you very, very much. So, the first movie, and I actually have 2 Lucio Fulci movies in here tonight because we're going to talk about explosive horror films, the kind of horror films that cause fireworks if you're a horror fan and you watch these. Well, at least for me, you may disagree with some of these, which is fine. But the first one I wanted to talk about is City of the Living Dead, aka The Gates of Hell. This is a movie, and some of you may have heard me tell this story before. My parents went to a lot of drive in films when I was a kid, some of which they took me with them. Okay. Things like Prom Night. I think I remember part of Death Ship. There may have been a vampire movie or two that I remember. And, some people may say that's bad parenting. But, I didn't turn out too bad, I don't think. So I don't think it hurt me in the end. So I remember my dad talking about this film, Gates of Hell, when I was a kid. And he talked about, maggots flying in a window, guy getting his head drilled, this girl puking up her, what I call puking up her entire intestinal tract. And I ain't kidding. If you haven't seen this movie, you definitely need to check it out if you think you can handle it. So we start off this movie, this small town of Dunwich, where a priest, Father Thomas, hangs himself. And when he hangs himself, guess what? It opens the gates of hell and bad things happen. So we have Catriona McCall and Christopher George starring in this movie. They make, in my opinion, they make a fantastic team. Lucio Fulci, I feel like Lucio Fulci was a great director when he had his game on. He was a great director, a great horror director, and there's a western that he did called Four for the Apocalypse or Four of the Apocalypse. I always get the title slightly wrong. That Steve introduced me to early on. I was like, this is a really good film too. In later years, of course, Lucio Fulci was in bad health, and that may have affected his filmmaking style. But his filmmaking style, as his life went on, some of it was kind of iffy. There were some that were just god awful that he put out later on, and some that were decent, and some that were really, really good. So just a little bit uneven there. But Gates of Hell, City of the Living Dead, I thought that Fulci was at the top of his game with this. With this one, The Beyond, one of these other films I'm going to talk about, Zombie, those were the films that I will always think of when I think of Lucio Fulci, because that to me was Lucio Fulci in his horror prime. And you do indeed have flying maggots. Can't even talk tonight. Thousands and thousands of flying maggots, and these were real maggots that were on the actors' faces. Um, you have that. You do have a guy getting his head drilled. That person is Giovanni Lombardo Radice, who sadly passed away in the last year or so. I did obtain an interview with him back when I was doing my blood type fanzine, and he was a very generous and gracious man. Anybody that ever got to interview him or to meet him, sorry, guys. That was a loud one. You may see me jump here and there. I'm sorry. I'm a weenie when it comes to loud noises that, I know they're going to be setting off fireworks, but it's still, you never know when these loud ones are going to come. So, sorry, just bear with me here. Um, it's still not dark enough to be doing fireworks, so I don't know. I don't know what people's deal is. It's like making noise, I suppose. Um, but if you were lucky enough to ever do an interview with Giovanni Lombardo Radice or to meet him, that was something to treasure because he was a great guy. I mean, he was honest about the things that he worked on. He was honest that he did not like those cannibal films like Cannibal Ferox that he was in. Um, he pretty much despised Diodato, who did Cannibal Ferox, um, because of the things that Diodato was asking him to do, and he refused to do regarding animal cruelty. So I won't go into all that, but Giovanni was a great guy, great guy. But so that's a basic plot of City of the Living Dead. I mean, and you have people who, when they see this priest, this dead priest materialize, if they stare at him long enough, their eyes start to bleed and then they start to puke up their entire intestinal tract. And if you don't believe me, watch this movie and you will definitely see a woman do that. There it went again. And it upsets my dogs as well, which I hate for my dogs to be upset. Um, so we're having fireworks while I'm talking about horror fireworks. So anyway, um, Victor, you say Gates of Hell may be my favorite Fulci film. It is so killer. I agree, Victor, 100%. Which version were you showing with that sweet slip cover? I think this is my 4K, Victor. Yeah. So this is like the original cover. And then this is the actual slip cover. This was put out by Cauldron Films. And this came with a little booklet and a sticker sheet and all that. In fact, I can pull that stuff out and show it to you. Pardon me, guys and gals. I'm not going to unfold this poster because I probably will never be able to get it back together again. But basically, it's that original poster art that says the gates of hell. I think that's the people in behind us. I'd like to knock some heads together. But anyway, um, so, well, I said booklet. Maybe there's not a booklet. This is the soundtrack, which I have not yet opened. But this is the original motion picture soundtrack for it. This is the sticker sheet. Now, I know a lot of people made fun of the sticker sheet, but I think it's pretty cool. How many movies do you get a cool little sticker sheet with, right? But if you were lucky enough to get, I mean, Cauldron Films might still have some City of the Living Dead copies. I'm just not really sure. I also have, and some of you guys and gals might have this too. My poor dogs. Be so upset. I also have this Blu-ray put out by, who put this one out? Oh, Scorpion Releasing put this out under the Gates of Hell title, which I think this one has a pretty cool slip cover as well. I like that one as well. Yes, it is whistle. It is a blow up doll sticker. Yes. And a blow up doll does make an appearance in City of the Living Dead. Um, Victor, you say Cauldron Films does some good stuff. I need to check my shelf to see if I have that version. Yeah, I mean, this is a really cool version. You need that in your life. Yeah, I mean, I'm terrible, but where the priest has that cross, I said, and I shouldn't have said it right, but I said that looked like he was humping the cross if you look at it just right. And I was like, that's so wrong, Dana. You shouldn't have said that. But anyway, um, that City of the Living Dead, aka Gates of Hell. If you haven't seen it and you can find it for a free version, I say go for it. If you're a gore fan, if you're a Lucio Fulci fan, if you're a horror fan, you need to watch this movie if you haven't seen it. If it's been a while since you've seen it, hey, pull it back off the shelf and watch it again. You love Sick and Wrong? Well, me and you, that's probably why me and you get along so well, Blissful, I would imagine. All right. So I'll go ahead and give this a rating, okay? Um, and I've got to give this 5 deadites out of 5, right? Because it's just so awesome. One of the best Fulci films ever. All right. So back to the movies. The next one I want to talk about is John Carpenter's The Thing. Now I know you may be thinking, why is that a, 4th of July, horror firework? It takes place in the wintertime. Well, the reason why it is for me is because you got a lot of stuff going on in this movie. You have an alien entity taking over or slowly taking over members of an Arctic research team, basically. Um, Kurt Russell is in this, and who doesn't like Kurt Russell? I absolutely adore Kurt Russell. And if you've watched The Thing from Another World, which this is a remake of, a very fantastic remake, by the way. So you have an alien intelligence, alien entity that can take over the bodies of people. And for a while, you don't know that the alien intelligence has taken them over. Okay. But when they show themselves, what they do is they replicate the body of the person they take over. So that is entirely, once the alien intelligence takes over, that's not that person anymore because it has basically become that person. That person is no longer there. And there are scenes that to me are similar to scenes in the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. For instance, the ending scene with Donald Sutherland. Oh, thank you, Cash. I appreciate that. Um, I appreciate the $2 and I appreciate you saying great show as well. I appreciate that a whole lot. Um, so, um, the scene I was talking about in the remake of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland is when he points at one of the characters that is left and she thinks he's okay and he points at her and he opened his mouth and this otherworldly noise, this ah comes out of his mouth. It is one of the creepiest scenes I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of horror films, right? But there's a scene that's similar in The Thing where one of the people that has been taken over by the alien intelligence lets out this scream. And this is where John Carpenter's The Thing is very, very different from something like Alien or Aliens. You have the xenomorphs in that, and they don't inhabit people's bodies, they don't take over people's bodies, they just merely fight the humans, right? In this, it's very scary because you don't know if this person is your friend, your enemy, or this alien intelligence, right? So, um, and when the thing makes itself known, that's when the special effects really kick into high gear. And that's what is explosive about this movie. Explosive like fireworks, right? Um, so I absolutely love John Carpenter's The Thing. I have seen the original, The Thing from Another World, which it's decent, but I have talked about, and other people have talked about remakes and how some remakes are just bad, bad, bad. You know, for me, it's stuff like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, or I know people say Evil Dead 2013 is not a remake, but if you consider it a remake, I think that's a terrible remake. Um, but things like The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, David Cronenberg's The Fly, I think those types of remakes really, even the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers from the 70s that has Brooke Adams and Donald Sutherland and Jeff Goldblum and all those people and Veronica Cartwright on it, um, just are fantastic, fantastic remakes and really improve upon the source material, in my opinion. Um, so a lot of these movies don't have real deep plots, but that doesn't mean that they're not great movies. And so if I have to give, or if I'm going to give John Carpenter's The Thing a rating, I'm going to have to give it 5 deadites out of 5 as well. This is a film that a lot of times Steve and I like to watch in the wintertime along with Kubrick's version of The Shining. Um, Notice I didn't say that I didn't like Kubrick's version of The Shining. Um, but I can watch them also anytime I take a notion to watch them. They don't just have to be wintertime films for me, right? All right. So the next one I want to cover, and this was put out by Synapse here in the last year or so. This is a 4K version of Dario Argento's Tenebrae. I love pretty much all of Argento's stuff, right? Um, Victor, you say The Thing is awesome. If I wrote a top 10 movie list, that would have to be on it. Saw it at a theater way back in the day. Body Snatchers are really good too. Super creepy. Again, 100% agree with you, Victor, on that. 100% agree. Um, but most everything that Argento has put out, or it's in his catalog of films, I absolutely love. I love Deep Red. I love Suspiria. But some people may find this hard to believe that are Argento files. But I would put Tenebrae above Suspiria, just slightly above Suspiria. Um, I probably like Deep Red the best, then Tenebrae. If you ask me to write, put them on a list of Tenebrae, Deep Red, and Suspiria, I'll go Deep Red first, then Tenebrae, and then Suspiria. And I'd have to think about the other Argento films. I'm not a big fan of Inferno. I like Phenomena as well with Jennifer Connelly on it. But it probably wouldn't be in my top three. It's a great Argento movie, just not in my top three. So, this is a Giallo film through and through. If you haven't figured out by the picture there with the black gloves and the person stuffing pages of a book in this girl's mouth. This movie also has some fantastic visuals in it. We have a girl that's attacked by the killer who um, she goes she doesn't know that there's a killer in the house. Okay. So I absolutely love this visual every time I see it. Okay. So she doesn't know there's a killer in the house and she's going to change her clothes. So she's pulling a shirt over her head, and the killer comes in the room at right that time and slices through the shirt, and you see her eyeballs up close, getting wider and wider, looking at the killer before the killer kills her. Um, there's also a lot of twist in Tenebrae, where you have two different storylines going on. That's all I'll say because I don't want to give it away too much for those of you that haven't seen it. Um, and I love all the visuals in here. As gory and bloody as they may be, there's something about Argento that is morbidly beautiful. Okay. And if you've not seen an Argento movie, you may be unsure of what I'm talking about. But if you've never seen an Argento movie, okay, I'm going to suggest you go with Deep Red first. Okay. To me, Deep Red is a starter film. It's like an introduction to Argento. But when you get done with Deep Red, take this baby for a test drive because I think you're ready. Once you see Deep Red, I think you're ready for Tenebrae. Okay. Um, there are so many twists and turns along the way with this that the first time I watched it, I literally was like, what? Wait a minute. I thought I knew what was going on, but I don't know what's going on now. Some people might not like that, but I do. I enjoy that because the thing is, over the years, I've seen so many horror films that it gets a little old when, and I'm not saying I'm a great um, or very super smart person just because I can figure out who the killer is these days 9 times out of 10. It's only because I've seen so many of these movies. It doesn't have anything to do with having any super smarts or anything like that. It's just if you've seen a lot of these types of films, you get where you know the formula. And everybody that has seen a lot of these films knows the formula, right? And you're like, well, this person can't be the killer because of XYZ, right? Um, so Tenebrae is fantastic. A very vicious killer in this, as most of these Giallo films do have. You have Argento's flair for having the morbidly grotesque, uh, or grotesquely beautiful, morbidly beautiful, whatever you want to call it. It's almost like artwork with these set pieces that he has in his films. And for me, nobody's really been able to rival Argento in that department. Not for me, anyway. You know, Fulci's good with the gore and the zombies and all that stuff, and the dead coming back to life. Argento is really good with the Giallo based films, the killer with the black gloves and the sharp knives and things of that nature. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you folks, I'm probably gonna give all these 5 deadites out of 5. I don't think I got any in my stack that I wouldn't give that to. So once again, I'm gonna give Dario Argento's Tenebrae 5 deadites out of 5. Highly recommended. Highly recommend all these films, in fact. So um the next one I want to talk about, and this is the Second Sight 4K of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, directed by Tobe Hooper. Um, I love Tobe Hooper so much, God rest his soul, that I named my iguana Toby. after Toby Hooper. Okay. That's how much I respect Toby Hooper, right? Okay. So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it is exactly that. But the thing about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this has been said a lot of times about this film, is that people swear that they see more blood in this film, that they see the character of Pam actually being put on the meat hook going into her skin. Yeah, you don't see that, folks. But the way Toby Hooper films this, your mind kind of forces you to imagine what that would have looked like had they really been putting her on a meat hook and it piercing her back and all that. And part of that is Toby Hooper, and part of that is the actress Terry McMahon who played Pam in the movie. Ultimately, it's Terry McMahon that sells that scene. All right. Um, Gunnar Hansen is another key player in this as Leatherface. Another person that sadly is no longer with us. God rest Gunnar Hansen. So I never got to meet him, but I certainly would have liked to. Um, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the story of a cannibal family. There's only men that we see, no women, except if you count the corpse of grandma. I guess you could count her in there. Um, and a lot of people, including me, thought that the cook was the father, and then Leatherface and the hitchhiker, played by Ed Neal, um, were brothers. But it came to light a little bit later that they all were brothers, and the cook, played by Jim Seadow, was the older brother. And he's the one with the most sense. They're all crazy, but he's got the most sense. And he's always getting on the other two. He's getting on Leatherface and the hitchhiker, played by Ed Neal. Um, but you have this crazy cannibal family who, unfortunately, these young people run afoul of and suffer the consequences. And, it's called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A chainsaw is used. There is some blood on the screen. A woman appears to be hung up on a hook. But let's talk about the fantastic way this movie was filmed. This movie, the cinematography by Daniel Pearl is genius in this. And it was a film where, in my opinion, everything gelled. Everything came together with this film. So you had the right actors, you had the right director, you had the right cinematographer, you had the right special effects guy in Bob Burns, um, who was able to create really realistic effects for this film. So, again, if you've not seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm talking about the 1974 classic, and try to find a for free version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't think you will regret it at all. Again, if you're a horror fan, this is a classic. There's no two ways about it. It is a classic. Um, Sorry, that's Facebook kind of dinging and stuff. Um, so again, once again, I've got to give the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 5 deadites out of 5. Highly, highly recommend every one of these films that I've been talking about tonight. All right. Victor, you said that Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Second Sight is a great release. One of the best things I've picked up in the past year. And Gunnar Hansen was a really nice dude. I met him and got a sweet autograph photo. Gentle Giant. Yeah, Victor, that is one of my big regrets in life, is that I saw Gunnar Hansen at several conventions. And, it was just one of those things where you always think, well, I'll see them at the next convention. I'll see them at the next convention. And before I knew it, Gunnar Hansen was gone. And so that is one of my great regrets in life, is that I didn't ever go up and meet Gunnar Hansen. But I'm glad to hear your story. And I agree that this second sight release is absolutely fantastic. I had the other release and I wasn't going to get the second sight one, but I kept hearing such good things about that I couldn't help myself. I ended up having to get it, and I'm glad I did get it. Um, so the last film I want to talk about tonight, and then I'll let everybody get to the fireworks, right? The real fireworks, is another Lucio Fulci film, and that is Zombie. We are going to eat you. Is that not a great tagline? To me, that's a great tagline. This is the 4K put out by Blue Underground, and it has that great, what I would call a hero zombie. It's the one everybody remembers that has seen this movie, right? The one with the worms coming out of his eye socket and all that. So, if you don't like zombie films, you're probably not going to like Lucio Fulci's Zombie. But if you love zombie films, if you love gore, if you love watching, zombies tear people apart and eat their innards and all that stuff, then you're going to love Zombie, because that's exactly what it is. Plus, one of the most fantastic eye splintering scenes or eye piercing scenes I've ever seen on film in my life. And again, if you don't believe me, watch this film. Find a for free version. Um, the story is pretty basic. This boat shows up in the New York harbor. These cops go aboard it and get attacked by a zombie. Then we find out that Tisa Farrow plays a character who's looking for her father. And her father was on this island of Matul, and nobody wants to go there because Richard Johnson is a doctor there, and people are dying and then turning into zombies. And that's exactly what happened to Tisa Farrow's father. So, um, we also have Al Cliver and Ian McAuliffe, who Ian McAuliffe, I met him a year or two ago, and he was the sweetest man ever. I would highly recommend meeting him if you ever get the chance. He plays the one of the starring roles along with Tisa Farrow in this movie. Yes, this is the one, Batman, where the zombie does fight a shark, which I'm glad you reminded me of that. Where else? What other movie? Sorry about the fireworks again. What other movie can you ever remember a zombie fighting with a shark? Underwater fighting scene. I mean, that is the most outrageously fantastic thing I've ever seen in my life. And thank you again, Batman, for bringing that up, because I certainly didn't want to forget that. Um, so Tisa Farrow and Ian McCullough's characters meet up with Al Cliver and Aretta Gay, and they get a ride on their boat with them. And they say, "We want to go to the island of Matul. We're looking for her father." And so once they get to the island of Matul, all hell breaks loose. There's zombies everywhere, and there's Molotov cocktails. There's zombie skin ripping and throat ripping and ice splintering, and yeah, it's just it's great. It is fantastic, and yeah, these people. I don't know how much money people spend on fireworks every year, but to let them off when it's not even dark yet seems to be a big waste of money to me. Um, but I'm once again going to give this one 5 deadites out of 5. fantastic film. All five of these films are fantastic. Um, Not only would they be good 4th of July watching, they'd be good watching any time of the year. You know, winter, spring, summer, fall, it doesn't matter. You will always have a good time if you're a horror fan and you watch one of these films. And if you watch one of them and don't agree with me, please come back in here and say, Dang, you're full of crap. I watched that movie and that movie was not good. um, so I guess that's all I've got for tonight because I know people are going to be wanting to celebrate and watch the fireworks and all that good stuff. And they're obviously not going to stop uh, till probably after midnight sometime tonight. And my husband has to work in the morning, which I feel bad for him. Uh, I, on the other hand, took off, so I would be off for the day after 4th of July. Usually I get a 4-day weekend, which is nice. Um, but before I get off here, I want to remind everybody that there's Terror Time Tea tomorrow at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time. And I will be talking about Slaughterhouse and Witch Trap. I'll be having some more frosted lemon cookies and some tea and talking horror movies. And then at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, me and Candace will be on discussing our favorite summer based films. Not all of them are going to be horror. Oh, I feel you, Batman. You'll say you'll be fighting the hordes of hamburger hungry zombies tonight. Ooh, yeah, I was thinking about you. I was wondering if you were going to have to work tonight because my brother may have had to work today. He's a manager of a Culver's restaurant. Um, but I want to remind you to tune in for all of that on Friday, tomorrow. Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time will be a Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Nightmare on Elm Street watch along in honor of the 40th anniversary of A Nightmare on Elm Street. And Sunday's watch along, also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be for Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And I've got the cake. I've just got to decorate it Freddy style. And I'll be having that probably Saturday night whenever I do the Nightmare on Elm Street watch along. So there's all of that. Plus, I want to remind everybody to please be sure, if you're interested, to join the Discord. It's free to join. Me and Candace will be starting a new sister channel to Deadites on Deck called Waiting on Woodstock. And if you're not sure what that is, it's going to be all things mid to late 60s, even into the 70s. We're going to talk about music from that time period. We're going to talk about movies from that time period, books, television shows, fashion, hairstyles. It's going to be a bonanza of different things that we're going to do. Me and Candace are also going to be premiering a new variety show, sort of like Friday Foolish, but not exactly. We're going to continue to do Friday Foolish, and that's going to be every other Thursday on the Deadites on Deck channel. And I'm also going to continue to do all the great content that hopefully you guys and gals are enjoying on the Deadites on Deck channel as well. And there will be a Patreon soon. I just haven't got that all finished up yet. So a lot of great things on the horizon. Me and Candace are really excited about all of this stuff. And I hope you guys are excited too. Victor, you say people join the Discord. That's where all the cool kids will be hanging out. And check out Friday Foolish. I love that show. Hey, Chris. Chris says, Hey, Dana, just now coming in the house. We've been cooking out and doing 4th of July festivities. Just wanted to swing by. Well, I appreciate that, Chris. And if y'all want to watch this on the replay, feel free. as anybody else that may have came in a little bit later and didn't get to see the whole show. And Victor, thank you so much for saying you love Friday Foolish. Me and Candace really, really appreciate that. And thank you for the advertisement for Discord. I appreciate that as well. And be sure to check out deaditesondeck.com for some cool, unique horror merchandise. I'm soon going to be having trucker hats on there, folks. So be sure to be on the lookout for all of that. And with that, before I run out of breath, I'm off like a dirty shirt. But as always, I want to remind everyone to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a great 4th of July, folks. Enjoy the fireworks, enjoy spending time with family, and I'll see everybody next time. Bye for now, folks.